News team on local television. The combined resources of KCOY 12, Central Coast Local News, and KEYT News Channel 3. Your news starts now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight live at 11. I'm Elise Martinez in tonight for Tracy Lair. We begin with a developing story out of Palm Springs. 3 officers have been shot. 2 of them are dead. Police say the officers were trying to resolve a family dispute when gunfire erupted, a man fatally shooting 2 of the officers and wounding a 3rd. Dozens of officers swarmed the neighborhood looking for that man, who is still not in custody tonight.
We were sitting here watching TV and we heard a couple bang, 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 and we looked out and it went crazy. It was like, it was rapid fire. It was hundreds of shots. And then, and when we looked out here, we thought someone was roaming around or something because we knew it was right behind the street here.
Earlier, the Palm Springs police chief held a news conference and was nearly brought to tears, describing his officers' devotion.
The deceased officers, Officer Jose Gil Vega. He is a 35-year veteran of the Palm Springs Police Department. He was due to retire in December. The second officer is Leslie Zrebny. She's been on our police department for a year and a half. She just gave birth to a 4-month-old baby.
Police chief also said the 3rd officer is alert and providing information to investigators. Back here at home, a car crash into a Goleta grocery store sent 1 man to the hospital with major injuries. It happened this morning at the Trader Joe's on Calle Real, and we talked to one young shopper who narrowly missed getting hit.
I was just walking out of the grocery store to look at the flowers while my dad was checking out the groceries, and then he came dashing by.
It was a close call for young Madeline Bennett during a routine trip to Trader Joe's with her parents.
I tried to tumble away. I felt the bumper of the car hit my hip.
Firefighters say a red Toyota Prius crashed through the front door just a short time after the store opened for business. Caroline Bennett saw her young daughter on the ground and panicked.
I saw this man with this red car. It accelerated really, really hard, the car, like super strong acceleration. And then I looked behind me, I thought she was dead because the car came so close to us.
The impact sending flowers, plants, and groceries to the floor. After the initial crash, Bennett says the elderly driver started backing up really fast.
Then I didn't know what he was going to do next. So I grabbed her and I ran and tried to find somewhere safe.
Madeline wasn't badly hurt.
Luckily, it's just 2 scrapes, one on my leg and one on my arm.
But a male shopper was hit by the car. The 35-year-old Santa Barbara resident was taken to the hospital with major injuries. Sheriff's deputies say the 85-year-old driver from Santa Barbara was cooperative at the scene and released. And no word yet if the driver will face any charges. Trader Joe's reopened a few hours after the incident. And Donald Trump finds himself in a storm of trouble just 1 day before the second presidential debate. His vulgar comments about women are drawing condemnation from all corners, and even among Republicans whose support could be critical. Weizhou Jiang is at Washington University in St. Louis, where Sunday's debate takes place.
Donald Trump waved to a crowd of cheering supporters outside Trump Tower in New York, 1 day after an explosive and vulgar recording surfaced.
I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it. Whoa. I did try and her. She was married.
Reaction to the 2005 tape has been fierce, even from his own inner circle. Running mate Mike Pence said he cannot condone or defend Trump's remarks.
Hey, everybody!
House Speaker Paul Ryan disinvited Trump to today's Republican rally and said he was sickened by his comments.
I meant what I said, and it's still how I feel.
John McCain joined a growing list of congressional Republicans withdrawing support. Some are going further, demanding that Trump drop out of the race. Trump says he'll never do that, but he made a rare apology in this video posted on social media.
I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Trump will have to answer to voters on Sunday night when he faces off with Hillary Clinton in their second presidential debate here at Washington University.
This requires a level of humility.
Dr. Wayne Fields is an expert on political rhetoric. He says Clinton should leave the scandal alone.
She can't say anything or add anything to it that's going to make it worse. And what she has to do is to avoid anything that suggests she's sort of paraphrasing what he said.
The debate will follow a town hall style format featuring questions from voters in the audience. Weijia Jiang, St. Louis, Missouri.
Trump's wife, Melania, weighed in with a statement saying, quote, "The words my husband used are unacceptable and offensive to me. I hope people will accept his apology as I have," unquote. Green Party presidential candidate Jill Stein was in Santa Barbara today, and her supporters had plenty to say about Donald Trump's comments. Stein spoke at a rally in De La Guerra Plaza. She talked about problems with the current two-party political system. Stein also argued for more access to the presidential debates for third-party candidates. And after the rally, Stein's supporters weighed in on Trump's recent scandal.
We don't think that any people, human beings, whether they're women or people of color or young people or older people or disabled folk or LGBTQ or what have you, no one should ever be disrespected the way Trump disrespects people.
And Hurricane Matthew is leaving a trail of destruction across the southeast, collapsing a pier in North Carolina today. The Category 1 storm is still thrashing the state and is blamed for at least 9 deaths here in the U.S. Matthew also caused massive destruction in Florida. An 8-block stretch of roadway was washed away near Jacksonville.
It's unbelievable. It's Mother Nature had something against us.
Matthew made landfall in South Carolina and left roads completely underwater. Flash flooding is so severe, a man used his kayak to get around in Charleston. Officials expect another 7 inches of rain to fall. For the latest on the path of Matthew, let's turn to Sean Quinn in our First Alert Weather Center. Hi, Sean.
Hi there, Elise. Well, we'll go ahead and get right to it. You can see Hurricane Matthew beginning to get very, very much weakened down, bringing it very close to what we start getting to the threshold of back to a tropical storm. But still, plenty of rain out there. You'll notice a lot of it heading up into Maryland, Virginia, Maryland, and then up into New Jersey and New York, even getting rain as far north as New England from this storm system. So again, there it is, churning a lot of energy right there, those yellows and those oranges and reds. It's the highest cloud tops. That's where you can get the severest weather and, of course, the most rain and a lot of storm surge in off the ocean. Now, the track of Matthew, we're going to see it begin to further weaken by this time tomorrow night. Should be a tropical storm and then go into what we consider a very low-end tropical storm and then even just a tropical depression in about 24 to 48 hours. But there is a chance that we watch Matthew linger out in the southeast corner of our country the next couple of days. We'll have to keep a very close eye on that. As far as us, though, things are pretty quiet, still very warm. And when I come back in just a moment, Elise, we'll talk about a cooling forecast minus the Santa Ana wind and maybe even some sprinkles in the forecast. Again, I'll be back in just a few moments, Elise.
A boat carrying 30 kids capsized off Pier 45 in San Francisco. Authorities say all children are now accounted for. Fire officials say the children are out of the water and safe. There's no information right now about what caused the boat to capsize. Emergency crews are investigating the incident. And coming up live at 11, a reunion like no other. Families meet doctors who saved their little ones at their most vulnerable time in life. Plus, find out what this UCSB soccer player is accused of and why the alleged crime is keeping him off the field. That's ahead live at 11 from KEYT News Channel 3 and KCOY 12 Central Coast News. The mother of a Templeton High School football player is suing the school district and a sports gear maker for injuries that left her son physically and mentally disabled. Isaac Lindsay led his team onto the field last month in their season opener. Tonight, the SLO Tribune reports that Isaac's mom, Jennifer, claims both the district and the sports gear giant Riddle failed to protect the then 16-year-old junior after he suffered a traumatic brain injury during a game last year. She claims the school didn't follow up concussion protocol after Isaac received a hit on the head and that Riddle, his helmet was defective. Neither the district nor Riddle were available for comment. A UCSB soccer player did not play in tonight's game at Harder Stadium after being accused of assault with a deadly weapon. Officers were attempting to put a parking boot on Sam Strong's car for unpaid parking citations when they say he drove off, nearly hitting one of the parking service officers. The district attorney is reviewing the case. Up next at 11, a unique look at one of the Central Coast's biggest festivals honoring a popular fruit.
And checking our almanacs, boy, look at this. If I needed to remind you, yet again, well above normal, at least not that close to those records at the bottom of your screen, but boy, everybody warmer than what you should be for this time of year. And that's going to be our story at least through tomorrow, but then there might be some good changes coming in the forecast in the form of some rain, definitely some cooler weather on the way, and of course all those details showing up here in just a few minutes.
Thousands of people are celebrating a popular fruit this weekend. This is an aerial view of the 30th annual Avocado Festival in Carpinteria. It's one of the largest free festivals in California. Besides delicious food and activities, dozens of bands also perform. The Avocado Festival wraps up tomorrow night, and admission is free. And they probably experienced some hotter temps than normal out there.
Well, you know, it's October, so it gets warm. That's just the way it is.
But we have some possible good news on the horizon.
Right. Definitely cooler weather on the way. We'll get more of a sea breeze. And of course, nothing like they're dealing with back east, so our weather is pretty benign, as you can see right there, but well above normal. As you see, temperatures in the 80s, even a couple of 90s out there banging on the door. But I will point out, Pismo and Morro Bay, you dropped back, look at that, considerably from where you were the last couple of days. I think Morro Bay yesterday was 85, if not more than that. Today back to 75, and tomorrow you might even get into the upper 60s as we see just a little weak sea breeze starting to develop. Santa Ana wind begins to fade, but as we usually do with the Santa Ana wind, the lingering warmth tends to stick around for at least a couple of days or so, or at least a day beyond the actual wind event. We lost the wind event yesterday, and that means the red flag conditions have at least dropped off. Area of low pressure on the center of your screen, or the left center, is going to push into the Pacific Northwest, and as it does, we're going to set up a trough. That's a dip in the atmosphere all across the West Coast. Some storm systems, good news, cold, chilly storm systems are expected to roll into Northern California. Now, there's a very slight hint that some of that energy, that much vaunted, lovely energy, might get into our neck of the woods, and I'll try to show you that in just a second, but we'll definitely cool things down. And here it is right here. Both of our forecast models, this is significant, are agreeing, at least right now, that we will see something, and both of them have the rain totals pretty similar. Usually we see, at least last year with the El Nino, we saw one kind of going with it, the other one saying not so fast. We had a lot of indecisiveness. Now this year, or at least this event, we're seeing both of our forecast models coming into line this early out. That means that basically we have to watch it very closely the next couple of days, but maybe in a week's time, a few drops are not out of the realm of possibility. So that's the good news there. More sea breeze expected, though will still stay warm, especially on the south coast. Those areas that are kind of tucked in from a direct west wind are going to have a hard time cooling off tomorrow on the coastline, but other areas will do a little bit better, as you can see right there as we try to, again, break down that dome and that ridge of very warm weather across the area. Santa Ana wind gone, and you know what, I for one am glad. As much as it makes really good surf conditions and very warm beach-like weather, we just don't want it this year with all the dryness out there. It's just too much to deal with. A little bit of surf out there, more waves expected early next week out of the west-northwest. And a quick look at our forecast map showing that coolness showing up by Tuesday and Wednesday, a little more so as we head toward the weekend. And then maybe if we get lucky, we can get those little rain showers try to work their way in. In the meantime, though, we'll just kind of cool things off, bring in some more clouds on Monday. Little hint that something might drift up from the southwest and bring a sprinkle or two, but that looks pretty minimal through Columbus Day. But then we'll keep it on the mild side, more clouds, morning clouds if you will, and then bring in the increase in clouds with that storm chance well to our north. But at least it's something to talk about. You know, at least this time of year, we start to, you know, kind of keep our fingers crossed that winter will start to show up. And these little systems, they're going to bring snow to the Sierra, hopefully.
Oh, that'll be great.
And let's, you know, knock on wood and get some rain down here. Let's hope and see.
Thanks, Sean. It was a celebration of life outside Marion Regional Medical Center this afternoon. The Neonatal Intensive Care Unit held a graduation celebration, welcoming back all the children and families who spent time in the baby ICU. Our Michael Coliani was there.
It's awesome to be back for another year.
For Tracy and Eric Boza, today's celebration of all the children who began their lives at the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit is all the more special. Their twin boys, Clayton and Duke, spent 36 days at Marion Regional Medical Center's NICU.
I think their first night and called 8 times their first night that they were in there.
And while those weeks were a stressful moment in time, Tracy says MRMC's dedicated doctors and nurses made all the difference.
And everybody really became our friend. And for me, it was when I wasn't there, I knew that my kids were being completely taken care of as if I was taking care of them.
We're so excited to have the children here.
Karen Mays is president and CEO of the hospital. The NICU here is the only one in the North County and one of the best in the state. It isn't easy to join the team that is in charge of the smallest babies, and having such a highly qualified staff with a personal touch is what makes this hospital so successful.
The ability to come together and have our care providers, our physicians, our nurses, staff, volunteers connect with children that they've spent a significant amount of time with is huge.
Back when the NICU opened in 2010, they only had 8 beds, but 2 years later in 2012, they moved into a new facility with 21 beds, and now 1,800 kids have graduated from the NICU.
It's the most fantastic feeling that you can have.
Dr. Ruiz Ochoa directs the Baby Intensive Care Unit.
Seeing these babies born so tiny with so many difficulties, later on see that they overcame all the difficulties and are doing well, seeing all the smiles in the families is just amazing.
Forming a bond between children, their parents, and their doctors they will never forget. In Santa Maria, I'm Michael Coliani.
Still ahead, an oldie but a goodie. Find out why music lovers are flocking to the desert this weekend for a concert being playfully called Oldchella.
And coming up next in sports, the UCSB men's soccer team takes the field with one less player. We'll explain. That's coming up next. The UCSB men's soccer team is looking to get back on track after sophomore player Sam Strong was arrested earlier this week for assault with a deadly weapon. Now, the San Marcos alumni did not play in tonight's game since the case is still being reviewed. Now, we head out to Harder Stadium where UCSB is playing host to Cal State Northridge. We'll get it started in the first half with Gauchos leading at 1-0 and looking for more. The long pass to Ija Somali, and he would beat out the goalie and kicks it into the back of the net with his second goal tonight. Now the Gauchos will go up 2-0 and not ready to lay low just yet. Randy Mendoza gets a hold of the ball and takes a shot from way out. Looks to get a header to go in, but that was a no-go. And you know what? It really didn't even matter because UCSB would go on to win this one 2-1. Up next, they will remain at home on Wednesday against Sacramento. Well, over at Wrigley Field, the Giants facing off against the Cubs in Game 2 of the NLDS. We'll pick it up in the second with the Chicago Cubs leading at 1-0. Kyle Kendricks takes this out to center field. 2 runs would cross the plate. Chicago now leads at 3-0. 2 batters later, Chris Bryant slices this pitch. You know what? That would be Hunter Pence, who couldn't make the catch. Wilson Contreras scores, and the Cubs now up 4-0. Now things getting really bad for the Giants in the fourth. Travis Wood blasts his solo shot out, so Chicago would get the victory over the Giants 5-2. They now lead the series 2-0. Game 3 will take place on Monday in San Francisco.
It is raining in Washington, D.C., and the game postponed, and so they'll play it.
So no baseball for the Dodgers today. Mother Nature had other plans. Game 2 will take place on Sunday. That is tomorrow, when the Dodgers will take on the Nationals. Now remember, L.A. leads the series 2-0. That's because Friday's win had presence 4-3, and Game 3 will still be played on Monday in Los Angeles, meaning that the teams will not have a day off for travel. All right, to some college football. USC taking on 21-ranked Colorado. We'll pick it up in the second with the Trojans leading at 7-0, and check out this play. Sam Darnell drops the handoff, picks it up, scrambles, finding pressure, somehow gets it to Tyler Petit, who gets in for the touchdown. So USC now up 21-17. Colorado fighting back, tying this game up at 14 in the fourth. But SC, as you can see right there, fighting strong today. That would be Petit again with another touchdown. So USC with the huge upset over Colorado, winning it in the final 21-17.
Fake to the air. Touchdown, Navy!
Bonner with the touchdown to give Navy a 27-20 lead over 6th-ranked Houston. And that's right, Houston, we got a problem still in the third. Josiah Powell comes out of nowhere, grabs the interception, takes it back to the house, 34 yards. Navy now leads it 34-20, and this is another upset today. Navy would grab the victory in a close one over Houston, 46-40. And let's go ahead and take a look at some scores from the Pac-12. UCLA falls to Arizona State in the final, 23-20, and this is the big shocker tonight. Stanford, 15th ranked. That's going to drop. They fall to Washington State, 42-10. That's a look at sports. News will return right after this.
Music lovers are flocking to the desert this weekend. People from around the world are taking in a star-studded event that's being playfully called Old-Chella. That's a play on Coachella. Desert Trip features a long list of music superstars, including The Who, Bob Dylan, and Paul McCartney. Looks like fun, and our Tracy Lair is there, and that's why I'm filling in for her.
Right.
And one more piece of news to report. Senare is going on maternity leave, so this will be her last sportscast for a couple months.
I need a rest, really. Yes. Kid is sucking the life out of me. He is due November 7th, so hopefully baby Jace will come on time and not a day later.
Okay, well, we look forward to the baby pictures, and we will see you soon. We'll miss you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your night.